the last thing I want to ask you guys is this: if you created your own show for hiking, and you can have your own adventures, where would you want to go, and who would you want to be a host with you? So the way we're going to break this down, I would say pick a celebrity, whoever, I don't care who it is, but give me like this is a good pitch for you guys. Let's pretend that I am Discovery or I am a TV network, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to have a hiking show. But I want you to convince me why the location you're choosing and who you want to go with is worth the money that we would put into your hiking show. How's that sound?
That's
Okay.
such a random question.
The long face from both of you guys.
All right, I want Al Gore.
And you could find Man Bear Pig.
Yeah. Well, you tell us your answer first, Aaron. I know you thought about it. I know you want to hike with LeBron James.
Well, that would be awesome. But if I was going to take a hiking show, if I was going to do one, I would want to have a team. I'd probably want to. Here's the thing: if you're out there and you ever listen to this, Coyote Peterson and Bear Grylls, I think that would be a heck of a dynamic duo. Like I can't wait to see when they start making content together. So for those of you who don't know, Bear Grylls is the guy from Man vs. Wild, and he served in the British military. He's like the guy whenever it comes to survival shows and stuff like that. But Coyote Peterson is from Brave Wilderness, who is the top channel on YouTube, and they had an Animal Planet show for animals, going out and finding them and doing conservation work. And of course, Coyote was doing crazy stuff, getting stung by things and bit by things. But I think that would be a dynamic trio because I would be a part of that. I think we would have a really interesting adventure. They'd push me to do things I didn't want to do, but I think there'd be a lot of humor in it. And I think that would make it more compelling because we would have guys who have such a different background. And I know Coyote is a herp guy. He likes turtles. I like frogs and toads. So we can make that happen. And, Bear Grylls, you got the platform. So hook us up, make it happen. And that's my pitch. That's what I would want to do a show on. And I think where I would take us, I think I would start with probably the Everglades, and we would be looking at pythons. Maybe it would be a mix of hiking versus how to survive, or like something about what happens when you're attacked by predators, or if they're in the area. Like maybe we would look at how to track them, different things like that. I think would be a really cool thing. So that way, when you're out hiking, you have signs of there's bears, there's Florida panthers down there, there's gators. Like, can you pick these things out and teach people? Oh, this is a track or scat from this animal we need to watch because they could be in the area. Something like that, I think, would be really interesting.
Well, that's cheating with Bear Grylls. He summited Everest twice.
He could do anything.
Yeah, he's probably there right now.
He's doing handstands up it.
I don't know, man. I'm at a loss here. I don't know about a person, but a location that would be interesting is the Amazon rainforest. But you have a huge risk of getting lost.
Hmm.
There's so much there that hasn't been uncovered and excavated, and there's really good evidence that there's evidence that there is evidence of civilization that existed there a long time ago, and that the rainforest overgrew it, and it would be interesting to kind of be a part of that. So that's not hiking; that's more, archaeology. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of mysteries there.
Okay, so it'd be an archaeology of the rainforest show. That'd be
Yeah, and,
interesting.
and with that LiDAR technology, they can get images of what's underneath the soil. I don't know how far down and below the tree line, and they can do that without digging up anything. And then if they find a spot that clearly has stuff there, then they can get the proper archaeologists to excavate, carefully and and respectfully, just in case it was a tribe or anything, and talk to the local people there. And see if they even knew what this was, and because I feel like the rainforest, you wouldn't need that much time to cover a town, a small village. You probably can do it, what, 100 years, 200 years of growing?
Hmm. Maybe even sooner than that because of the soil. But archaeology of the rainforest sounds more like a YouTube series than a TV show, but it would probably still be a big hit. I think people would want to tune in. It'd be like the Curse of Oak Island almost. You
Yeah,
just
that's what I was thinking.
yeah.
They're gonna find it, man. They have to. Spend all that money.
How many
They gotta,
seasons are they in?
I don't know. I stopped watching it. I gotta watch it again. My
Yeah.
my one friend, he hates it. He's like, all they do is drive around Yukons and all have SUVs. I don't know. It's a thing, but
All right, Josh Merchko, what about you?
About the
A show, man. You got to pitch me a show.
I used to watch the Oak Island show like he was talking about. I mean, but I haven't been following it either. I feel like it's an interesting show though.
So you don't want to pitch me something like Oak Island? You got to put that Marichko spin on it. Come on, man.
I don't know, man.
No, that's all right. You'll outsource it. Just have me come in and we'll do the show with Coyote Peterson and Bear Grylls.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll give you another idea. It probably wouldn't be a show, but it would be a good YouTube show. So why not go to some of the most unique places on Earth and only fly a drone through and use drones that actually have sensors so you don't hit stuff? I can say that from experience. But what I can say though also is it would be really neat to fly through like a rainforest, the Congo, or going down the Nile River with a drone and just having. I think it would be a peaceful, like ambient thing. Like people would turn that on if they're trying to relax or decompress. Allow people to just see the Earth, with a 4K, maybe a 6K sensor. I'm not sure what the highest level of DJI's drone capability is right now, but because unless you got like a really high level, high end drone, but I think a Mavic or an Inspire 2 would serve the purpose. You fly that and just check it out. Just see what's going on. You can fly that through the Grand Canyon. I mean, imagine that. That'd be very peaceful, and I'd probably watch it, not consistently, but I'd probably watch it.
yeah, you could do like not a montage, but like a heck, you could even just do a long video. It could be 20 some hours long, however long it takes.
Yep.
But like if it could somehow charge itself and never have to stop, and you just went from the beginning of the Colorado River and just at 30 miles an hour just followed the river from like maybe 50 feet above the water or something like that, and it just had never stopped until you got to the end, whatever you deem the end being. But that'd be interesting. No
That'd be
one's
awesome.
definitely done that.
I'll throw you another one, an extra, before we get to the last segment. This will be a shameless plug, but I would switch gears from hiking and adventure, and I would pitch the 242-gallon tank that I have in the back that I'm not showing now with the background on. Create long-form content of what's going on inside the enclosure and allow people to decompress and literally sit down and watch it and feel like they're in the woods, because I have the capability of creating thunderstorms, foggy days, full moons, new moons, high fronts, low fronts. I can have cloudy days. I can have a lot of really unique things take place in there. And I can also show you what's going on with native plants and animals, how they're reacting and interacting with the environment and how it changes. So there's a lot. You'd have a chance to see a story about, in long form content, maybe we follow a frog or a toad and it's very peaceful. It's a very up close shot, a tight shot of an animal, and you see like the little bumps on it or the grooves on it. You might see soil insects crawling on it, the 4K detail. And this is funny because this is a real thing. But yeah, so I'm going to actually create a show called Through the Woods Uncut, and it's going to come out sometime early 2024, but I want to show people what is coming. So it's going to be a long form content video type thing with allowing people to decompress. I plan on using music from artists that I know that are trusted, and we can have like a long form, like maybe a 2-hour video of a whole track list from an artist, no copyright artist. Like shout out to your friend Ghost, Arrowhead, and Scott Buckley. But they make some amazing music, and overlaying some of my best content with their music might actually get both of us on the board and get more people to see our content. Scott, he is like, oh, he probably is close to 100,000 subs, but everybody else, that could help us all. But also, not just for music, but we can show people, how these animals eat or how they interact. What do they do on a full moon? What do they do during a foggy day? I mean, that might be interesting. How do the plants handle a lot of rain or a drought? Have a waterfall in there. What happens if that dries up? What does it do to the animals and the plants? So a lot of science, a lot of detail. I can go spec for spec on anything with it. And I got an FX30, a really good lens for it. And I've got the security cam. I'm planning on getting a trail camera to get even more authentic footage of it. But I think that this could really interest people. Minimal narration, but long form video. It's going to take a lot to accomplish it, but I do think it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, how would you feel if you're sitting down, let's say you wanted to relax, you're in the middle of the woods in Pennsylvania, and you have a chance to watch these animals literally right next to you, what they're doing, just hanging out or whatever. I think that would be a real good decompressor for a lot of people. That's why I have it in my bedroom, but I want to share that with people. What do you guys think? Do I got the job?
Maybe.
I didn't do good enough.
I think so.
Yeah, all right. I got one
Yeah.
Josh, and I got one yes Josh and one no Josh. That's all right.
No, it would work. It would be all right.
Yeah. Have you guys seen some of the footage from that FX30? What I've been able to get so far?
No.
That's all right. I'm gonna compile a nice video, a highlight video of Ace at some point, and it'll just be all straight up, pretty much from that camera. So when that comes out, I'll share it.
Is that the new Sony?
Yeah, the
Oh, okay.
FX30 is a cinema camera that can shoot 4K 60 and 4K 120. It has a fan built in, so it'll never overheat.
Is it better than your Pocket 6K?
Objectively speaking, yes, in every way, except for frame rate, because the Pocket 6K does 6K, but it comes at a price. I can get super slow motion out of this camera, and it's easier on the file size rather than the Pocket 6K was massive. It took 40 minutes to fill up a terabyte of data. With the FX30, the Sony camera, I have yet to. It can get, like, if I shot in, let's say I filmed the project in 120 frames per second in 4K, I'd probably match that. Realistically, I'd probably match like a terabyte of data in 40 minutes worth of footage. So, because 4K 120 data is so massive, the detail in it. So
Yeah.
I think a 4K 120 10-bit camera that never overheats is fantastic. That moisture resistant, can take it out in the rain. It doesn't affect the fan at all. You can't do that with the Pocket 6K. That's why I want to switch, and I want to actually sell the Pocket 6K to get an A7 IV. And I don't want to go too camera spec crazy, because I can talk spec for spec with this stuff too. But I think that would be an amazing B cam or an A cam even during Frog Week, because it's a full frame camera. You get that shallow depth of field, but it takes pictures. The FX30 doesn't have anything for pictures. It's a solid beast of a video camera. It's a beast. I can't wait to share that. But yeah, please check out some of the videos about the big tank that have come out. I'll attach some of that as well. You'll get the chance to see up close and personal what that camera is capable of. It's gonna go as far as I carry it, basically, or as I take it. But anyway, so that leads us to the final segment here. This was something we started in the last episode of the podcast. I want to take you guys to it. Let's see here. We're going to give a shout out to the Altoona Mirror. I was actually on there for Frog Week. But we're going to look at this real quick, and we're going to talk about this because it does impact us. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
All right, so we have an article that I shared with you guys actually a couple weeks ago, and I shared it again today about the Abandoned Turnpike funding and being created as a recreational opportunity. Now, for people that don't know, Josh Babel, I think you're the most qualified for how many times you've been there. Can you explain what the Abandoned Turnpike is to people that have no idea what it might be?
Yeah, I'll just give a quick explanation. I don't remember the length off the top of my head, but I want to say it's like between 8 and 14 miles long, one way. It is a part of the old interstate from Pennsylvania. It used to be like its intended purpose was a railroad, and it was never used for that. And they ended up expanding the highway with 4 lanes, 2 on each side, by going around the mountain. That was cheaper than widening the tunnel. Um, I believe the state sold it to a private individual. I don't know if it was a company or if it was just some guy, but I know they sold it at some point. And he turned it into what it is today. It's a recreational location where people can go walk, hike, whatever. Bike riding is the main thing, and actually riding horses. You're allowed to go through the Buchanan State Forest, and people have taken horses through there. Um, yeah, so it's really just a trail, and you can kind of hear the interstate depending on where you're at on that abandoned road, but so it's really close by. Um, it kind of looks like a scene from Walking Dead without the zombies and abandoned vehicles, but no, it looks like a 50-year-old road that hasn't been driven on, well, for 50 years or whatever it's been. Yeah, like that. And it's interesting in the winter too. We were there January. The one time it was like 20 degrees, a foot of snow. It was windy. That was interesting. Remember all the animal tracks that we saw in the snow leading up to the tunnel? Like it wasn't just like, oh, there's one there, oh, there's one there. It was like just everywhere. Like animals must use that road like crazy.
This must be an old picture because I've never seen, unless that's Tunnel 1, I've never seen
I've
this.
never seen it like that either. Yeah.
So that must be an old picture. That's funny. They're very careful what graffiti they do show.
Yeah. The graffiti's rough.
So, yeah, let's go back up here to the top. Okay, what was this? This was last 2022. Okay. Shout out to uncoveringpa.com. We're using your website here. Anyway, yes.
It's rerouting. This was 1968 is when they rerouted it. Okay. That's a long time. It's been abandoned then.
Yeah. There's one thing I do want to talk about. Well, hold on a second before we get to that 13-mile stretch.
13. Okay. I couldn't remember.
And then 2009 was when the movie The Road was here. What is his name? Viggo Mortensen?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Mortensen. He played Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. I've seen that movie. It's probably the saddest movie you can possibly watch.
The Road?
Yeah, it's hands down the saddest movie I've ever seen in my life.
And it's about zombies?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
What does it have to do with?
Without spoiling it, it's basically just the world's dying.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie.
Wow. Oh, here we go. The 13-mile stretch in 01 given to the Southern Alleghenies Conservancy.
Oh, okay, so it was given, not sold.
Run by an organization called Pike to Bike. Okay.
So before that, it was probably abandoned, and you weren't supposed to be on it, and people were going there and screwing around. And then they're like, you know what? Let's make it a thing, because it goes right through the state forest. It's like it looks like a private property line going through the middle of a forest.
Yeah, it's right next to the Buchanan Forest where they do have hunting, and yeah, it's and there used to be camping and everything there. So it's funny. They actually have names of the tunnels, but we've been doing this so long. We have Tunnel 1 and Tunnel 2.
Yeah,
we don't go by.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how long it is between the tunnels. So that's at a mile and a half from the Breezewood parking spot. I know where that's at, but I don't know how. I never rode my bike through it or walked it or anything, so I don't know how far that is. It's got to be miles though,
Yeah.
like several. So if you're gonna walk it, that's gonna be a little bit.
Yeah. Uh, what did it say? Something about where was motorized vehicles. Do you guys see that too?
What'd you say?
Right there. To prevent motorized vehicles from accessing the turnpike, the barriers are put in. Okay. We have seen vehicles in the abandoned
Oh yeah,
turnpike.
I've been
Yeah.
in the tunnel when it yeah with you, and the truck almost came through and saw all of our flashlights, and we made it look like there was like 15 people in there because we had our headlights and we each had a flashlight in each hand. So from a distance, it looks like that's two people because all you see is a light. You don't see a body. We're like, oh, let's light it up.
Yeah, honestly, we had to. We had to pull Dark Knight Rises and say light it up like he did for the bridge. But yeah. Let's go back here real quick to the tunnel. Can you guys see the Altoona mirror paper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you guys have a chance to check this out at all? Like, did you read it at all? And I guess, what are your thoughts on what this could mean for Pennsylvania? But what does it mean for the hiking show specifically? Because that means no more night hikes out there for the most part.
Yeah, that'd be pretty unfortunate because that's like an anchor for everything, really. I don't know. I mean, I get what they're trying to do for the community, see if they actually pull it off, but
Yeah, the grant. I mean, look at how much money they're going to get. 380K. That's amazing.
yeah, well, they have some water control issues they need to do to divert water up top. That's causing that thing to
Yeah.
crack heavily up top. The
Like,
ceiling, not the ceiling when you walk in, the tunnel within the tunnel above is cracked real bad about 60% of the way through from the one side we always take, where you can see like exposed mountain and everything, and it's only a matter of time till that wants to come in.
I don't know if it's later in this article, but the idea that they want to do is they want to cut off. So instead of having two lanes, they want to completely close off one lane. So you'd only be able to walk one lane of it. And like I said, I mean, it's going to be more monitored. Here, hold on. The work on the abandoned turnpike, creation of a 10-foot wide path atop the former highway. The material will be generated by milling the existing asphalt, then placing the resulting gravel, rolling it, then stabilizing it with binder. Workers will also fill hazardous deep inlet drains with rubble stone. Vandals wishing to sell scrap steel have removed the grates that covered them and have cut rebar that had formed access ladders within them, leaving stubs that could slice up the flesh of someone who fell into them, one official said.
Yeah, they definitely do need to fill those. There's no reason to have them open. Some of those are pretty dangerous. I don't have a problem with that.
Construction from the 1880s. That's pretty nuts from the railroads. That's how they get the story, because the railroads go through Altoona. That's how they were able to cover this.
Yeah, see, it says right there it runs through Buchanan State Forest.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, at least we got to see it and film it in its natural state.
Yeah. I'm
They'll
looking.
they'll probably have to put a massive gate in front of each one if they don't want people going in there at night.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to keep people out with it being next to the forest, the state forest. I mean, the only way they could do that is if they found a way to lock you out. I don't know. I just, with the hills and the rocks and the gravel, and you know how dangerous it is firsthand, Josh Babel. Uh, I don't know how they're actually going to keep people out. I mean, they might just have cameras and find people as they see them on the camera. I mean, I don't really know. That's just something that we would have to keep in mind. I don't know. What do you guys think though about going out and we're going to do another round at the turnpike, Josh Murchgood will be your first time there. Excuse me. But what are your thoughts on doing a part 2 with all the leaves off the trees at some point here coming up, but then going back actually for a part 3 of seeing what they're doing, like how, like kind of following the progress of what's going on at the turnpike?
I think that would be pretty interesting to see how things are progressing through time and see what kind of improvements they're doing to the project and see what else, you know, what other things they might be decided to include with extra funding or anything, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good turnout. You guys represented the show well, and I'm excited to see where we go next. But yeah, thank you guys for being a part of this episode tonight. I'm really excited to get this out to our viewers and the All Seasons fan base. So thank you guys so much for joining, and I can't wait for us to reconvene at some point at the end of the season and talk as well.
Yeah, that'll be a part of it.
All right, that's going to do it for us for tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share for more CCH content. We'll see you in the next one.